So last year I converted my closet, yes, my closet, to an office space like this. Took an old vanity, spray painted it, and used it as a desk in this little alcove space you can see here. Well, it got pretty messy, and so I wanted to clean things up a little bit. So in this video, we're going to show you how you can do that. Specifically, how you can make a desk top like this made out of wood. You can stain it, seal it up, give it kind of a vintage, classic gray look, rustic, weathered almost. And I'll show you how to do that step by step, including how to install these little USB chargers or holes for your cords to go through. So more of a permanent fixture. So we're going to go ahead and get the things cleaned up. We're going to clean out the alcove space, including taking apart this old spray painted vanity that I had converted earlier years ago into a little makeshift desk, which is a good idea. Just spray paint, and you basically take a piece of wood and connect the two cabinet pieces. So let's get all the cords unplugged and basically clean this space out. Now might be a good time to patch up any drywall and of course vacuum. It's probably been quite some time. So obviously we need to take some measurements from wall to wall, and including the chair, right? Because ideally you want the chair to push into and underneath the desk. So we're going to mark the ideal location here. So get out your office chair and do a little experimenting, what would be a comfortable space for you. And we'll go ahead and put those markers up on the wall in pencil, of course, because we can erase them later. Next, we're going to take our piece of pine. Now this pine happens to be, about 6 feet or so in length, and I'm going to be making a cut, and I'm going to use the existing width, or the depth, I should say. So it's 24 inches by 6 feet, and I opted to go with pine. It's a soft pine or soft wood, but when I put the sealant, this polyurethane on there, it's going to harden it up and make it really strong. So I'm not worried about that, and it's super affordable. I think I paid $49 for this slab, and it's the inch thick slab. Next, I'm going to take some scrap wood, but something that looks nice and sturdy, some 1x4. Go to the hardwood store and pick out something preferably aesthetic, not the scrap stuff, because part of it, especially the edge piece, is not so much the deep part, is might be visible to the eye upon walking in, and you don't want it to look, you want it to all look nice and uniform, even though you won't be able to see most of it. Depending on where your studs are, some of it might be sticking out. And you'll see what I mean later on. So we're going to go ahead and get a back measurement using the brace of the wall from width to width. And we're going to measure several times and only have to cut once. Now the back part of the wall and the front part of the wall are not exactly straight 90 degree. So they're off just a little bit. So I'm using the brace here to make marks and make my cuts, and then transfer those cuts to the actual desktop, to the actual pine desk. Okay, so you can see it kind of slants this way a little bit. And so instead of relying on my tape measure, which can be slightly inaccurate, right, if you're going from wall to wall in an alcove space, we're going to use the brace here to get a perfect measurement of the back wall and the front wall. Here's what I was talking about earlier. Make sure now's a good time, once you have that cut perfectly, your brace, that it is indeed the correct height that you want. Next, we'll again transfer that measurement of the brace to our actual desktop. So we have the front and the back. And you'll want to examine your pine to make sure that you don't have any noticeable gaps, right, or chips in it. If it's the underside, that's okay, but the top should be relatively blemish-free, and we'll take a straight edge and we'll connect those two lines. So it's not a perfect 90. It should accommodate the less than 90 degree wall in the alcove area. Next, we're going to have a stud finder and find the locations of the studs. Always a good idea. You want to drill and secure directly into the studs. Now, there's probably going to be some on your back corners. I'll show you how I manage that. So we'll go ahead and get that cut perfectly. Now, this is my back brace, and I'm going to run that from wall to wall, and then my side braces are going to go right here. And I don't want it to go too far out, but it's got to be enough to hit that stud. And I'm not talking about myself, by the way. Ha ha ha. So what we're going to do is get those side braces installed. And you don't have to go crazy. I've got a stud on the edge there, so I actually had to bring that all the way, pretty much all the way to the edge of the drywall, unfortunately. I'd like to have cut that off a little sooner, but we needed that stud indeed. Make sure it is level before you secure it. And I am using 3-inch deck screws. I like the ones with the asterisk shape, not the corner, or not the squares or the crosses. The asterisks have a lot better bite. And 3 inches secures a proper depth as opposed to 2.5 inches. You could probably get away with 2.5 if you've got them lying around. So we're going to be securing them, and we'll beef it all up later. Right now I'm just getting preliminary. I've got 2 screws in each piece of wood, making sure that it's level. And I'll add 2 more to each piece once I'm confident that everything is leveled up. On the back brace, I'm going to start with the center screw. And of course, use your level here to make sure it goes in correctly. And then you can tilt it a little bit and hold it in place while you get the lateral screws secured. If you have a nail gun with some brad screws or brad nails to pop it in, that would be preferable. I just didn't want to lug mine upstairs from the garage. Next, we're going to be using some heavy-duty shelving brackets, some L-shaped. These are designed to withstand, I think, 750 pounds, 1,000 pounds for the pair. And you divide that in 2. If that theory holds, it should still be plenty. And I'm using 1 right in the center. And I've got to beef that up a little bit because it can't be crooked, right? So I'm going to cut out another little piece of brace and put it down. And we'll secure that later. Let's head out to the garage. And we'll go ahead and make our cut from the straight edge line that we made earlier. Now you'll want to double check, triple check all your measurements because this is a $50 cut right here. If you mess up, that is a headache. And I've got it secured using my clamps. And that was a successful cut. Let's get a closer look. Blow away all that sawdust. And I am very happy with that. If you've got a guide to help you with that straight, if it's a perfect 90 degrees, use the guide. But I had to stay true to that line, so I wasn't able to use the guide. But we nonetheless had a great cut there. And we'll go ahead and bring it up to the work site now, to the alcove space. Make sure it is indeed level still. We are pretty much perfect. And you can use shims if you're off just a little bit. Next, we're going to bring the desktop back downstairs and work out some of the blemishes that we see using an orbital sander. And pine is very soft if you've not worked with it before. So be careful, you don't want to dig in too deep, depending on what grit you're using. I have a relatively soft grit here. I don't know what it exactly is. But we want something with enough bite to kind of dig out some of those scratches and blemishes. You can use the tip of it a little bit. Now for pieces like this, we're going to use some wood putty. You can see on our test, this is a test sample actually. Before you if you're planning on staining this, you're going to want to test it first. So buy some high quality putty. I went to the store, local hardware store, and picked up this, and I'll put links down below for everything you see. And we're going to go ahead and let that dry, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. I've got these little brass pieces here, and these are going to allow the cords to come up underneath where the outlet is to feed the power for the monitor, computer, and all that good stuff. And I also bought some of this USB charger. It's got 4 ports, and the idea is that you drill a hole into your space, or you have an existing hole, and you can plop that down using these grommets, and it sits in there like this. So we're going to tackle that next. You can see how far up it sticks, more or less. So find the location that you want. Take into account the length of your cords. You don't want to plan incorrectly. And for this project, I'm going to do a center grommet, and then one on the corner near the outlet, and then the USB charger near the corner near the outlet. And I'm doing about an inch and a half, away from the edge. Don't do too close to the edge. You don't want to bust through. That would be a disaster. So 1.5 inches from the back, 1.5 inches from the side in this case. Just want it to look nice and even. And pencil marks will do just fine to trace the perimeter of all three. Next, we're going to take one of these good-sized drill. Now, you're going to want to read the instructions for whatever grommet pieces that you buy. It'll tell you exactly what size drill bit to use. In this case, I think it's a 1.5 or 2 inch. Pretty much the biggest one that I have in my toolkit. And I do have an electric powered drill here, not the battery powered, to make sure it's got enough. Now, if you've got too deep of a desktop, I've got 1 inch. It's actually a little bit more than 1 inch deep. Just come through the underside. That guiding pilot drill bit will actually poke through, so you can use the underside to finish it out. Just go out, go underneath it, go upward to drill it out. So start down like this, go underneath and pop it out. And that should give you a nice clean cut. You can use some sandpaper to sand away any of the jagged edges and check to make sure that they fit. If they do, if they're too loose, I'll show you what you can do later on in the video to make sure that those are snug and perfect. Next, we're going to come back to our test sample here of the wood putty that we applied earlier, and we're going to put on a sample stain. And basically, if you're happy with that and the way it looks, then you can proceed. So this has a noticeable chip on the underside near the front, so we're going to put some wood putty on here. And this stuff is nice. I don't have a lot of experience working with wood putty, specifically not this stuff, but it's almost plastic-like. You'll feel it start to harden up pretty much as soon as you put it on there. It firms up pretty fast, and then I have a little paint scraper that can help kind of level things out. If it's not completely level, that's fine. You can sand it down a little bit later. You want to build it up a little bit more so you can sand down as opposed to not enough. Then you're doubling your time. Okay, so once that dries, we're going to go ahead and put on our stain. We're going with the classic gray. I do not recommend a sponge brush like this. So if you're looking for, I'm all about saving a buck, but see how it's basically splotching? It absorbs so much, doesn't release very well. So instead, I like a rag like this, and look at that. You can cover a lot more square footage, so to speak, and it applies very uniformly. This is the first coat. Obviously, we're going to want to apply a second coat. Of course, you can do however you want. Notice I did the underside first, just as a test to make sure I liked it, right? Always a good idea. Now we've got the right side facing up, so we'll sand down that wood putty and proceed with the top coat of stain, the first layer. Now the underside you could actually put on a couple. No one's going to see the underside of the desk, right? So I was just happy with one layer of stain. And again, that was really my test sample. So I'll apply the top just like I did the bottom. And don't forget the fronts, basically any exposing sides. I'm not doing the holes, the grommet holes that I drilled, although you certainly can for added effect, I suppose. That would be totally optional. But look at that, you can really see the grain pop. I'm going to put one more layer of stain on over this once it completely dries, and read the instructions to figure out what the adequate drying size is. There's my wood putty. Kind of blends in nicely with the natural grain underneath. That's a knot. And there's my nick with wood putty in. If you can't see it, that's probably good. There it is right there. All right. So we'll get the second coat on. And we'll fast forward this for you. You don't need to watch paint dry here. Again, I'm using a rag for the second coat as well. There we go. And I'm really happy with this so far. The stain went on really nice. You can see a little bit of the wood grain still underneath, but it's dark enough so it actually looks stained, right? If it's too light, you can put on another coat, or consider sanding it down a little more aggressively early on before you applied the first coat, so that more stain can saturate. So some of the reason it's not saturated, some of the lighter pieces, the stain might not be saturated. It might be too sealed off or whatever. Now, I'm applying this polyurethane that is intentionally a little brown because I have done this project before elsewhere in my house, and we really like this stuff. It goes on really thick, but 3 coats is going to make it super durable. And look at how it kind of adds this extra like rustic look to it, this extra element of being aged, which is what I'm after. Now it's super sticky. It takes several hours for it to dry. Don't even come around for 6 hours or so, I would say, depending on the ambient temperature. But once it's dry, the first coat, we're going to do a nice light sanding with the orbital sander. You don't want to take too much off, just smooth it out, and we'll put on a second coat as well. And then we'll do the same thing, putting on a third coat for extra durability. The instructions say 2 coats, I believe. I went with 3 because if you're going to use this every day, you don't want anything. You want it to be as protected as possible. And you'll take special attention to making sure that all of the crevices, if there are any little knots, are good to go. Again, a light sanding afterwards. And another coat. Read the instructions well, and then you wipe it all down. And look at that. It's not just a classic gray, but again, it's got a little hint of vintage, which I like. All right, while we have the table out, and of course after everything's dried up, we're going to mount the outlet underneath the circuit breaker. If you aren't planning on running one of those, you could do it on your back if you want, but it might be a little easier to do it now. Get that mounted, and then bring your tabletop up to your workspace, and you should be ready. Look at that. We should be ready for securing it to the braces underneath. We'll go ahead and get these grommets in. I'm using the thinner grommet. This particular USB port comes with 2, one thick, one thin. I'm using the thinner one. And then we'll pop it down. And it is a little loose. Again, I'll show you what I do here in a minute. Let's get our shelving bracket centered and secured. And again, I'm using 3-inch deck screws, and I'm going all the way back into the stud because that has to penetrate the shelving piece. Well, it's the width of the shelving piece, the brace, and the drywall, right? So you want that as long as possible. And then don't get too long of screws up here on the top because you don't want to puncture or penetrate the top of your desk. That would be a disaster. So here's what I do if your USB port is too wobbly. Take some masking tape and just, this won't be visible at all. Just wrap it around until you have the desired fit. Now we can go ahead and beef up the braces underneath, adding more 3-inch deck screws to secure those in place. And then we're going to be securing the desk to notice the weights on the top of the desk. We're going to secure the desk to the braces using these little L brackets. And I just put the weights on the top to make sure everything is pushed down as far as it can. And secure those appropriately. There's 2 screws that go in the side and 2 on the underside. And that should be super duper sturdy. Now we'll plug this baby in. Get everything plugged in. And while we're at it, might as well show you some accessories. I've got my USB chart, and I plan on having my iPad with a cool little stand kind of right over here. And I'll fine-tune everything later. But it does indeed work and charges. I've had the desk up for about a week now from the making of this video, so everything looks good. And I'm going to also go ahead and set up my computer and workstation. To get something like this, we'll put some shelves or some bins up there to hold other things as opposed to just throwing sweaters up there, as you saw earlier. And we're going to call this project finished, a permanent alcove workspace. Hopefully this video has helped you out. If it has, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.